everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my top favorite books of the year. More like the last half of the year. This year was really bad in regards to me doing reading wrap-ups, and so in June I did my favorite books of the year so far, and that list focused on books that I read from January to June. In this video I'm only going to focus on books that I read from July to December. I know at this point where I'm filming, December isn't quite over yet, so I still have time to read something else, but honestly, at this point, it'd be very surprising if I read something within the next 3 days that really was good enough to make it onto this list, so we're just gonna move on and do this video. These books aren't in any particular order. I wrote them down as I was prepping for this video. The first book on this list is 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Alston, and this book surprised the heck out of me. Honestly, I didn't think I was going to like it. It just, based on the cover and based on the synopsis, was like, alright, this is going to be one of those fun Christmas romances, and I don't necessarily love those usually. Like, I enjoy them, but I don't necessarily love them. And this was the group book for that Christmas readathon I just took part of. Not a Very Merry Readathon. That card will pop up in a second, but basically in the more recent Christmas readathons I participated in, this was the group book. I was like, alright, I'll read it. I could not put this book down. I started reading it at work, came home, and just continued reading it until I finished it. This book is 336 pages. That's like a pretty thick book to read in one sitting. Normally I can read like little novellas or little graphic novels in one go. I don't usually read 300-page books in one sitting, and I needed to see how this was going to conclude. Basically what the synopsis was, Sophie, who's our main character, makes plans to where she can stay home for the holidays instead of going away with her family so she can spend the holidays with her boyfriend. Only to find out her boyfriend was looking forward to her leaving so he can see what it was like to be single. And she overhears him saying this, and she goes, you know what, fine. If that's what you want, we're done, we're over. So I really appreciate that right away this girl has some backbone and she wasn't going to like let this guy walk over her. Of course she's upset, and of course she's distraught because they've been together for a while. So she goes to her grandparents' house where she was going to be staying since her parents are away, and her grandmother and the rest of her family go, you know what? You don't need him. And to show you don't need him, we're going to set you up on 10 blind dates. Hence the title. Some of these dates were outrageous, like they were either really fun or really bad. We had a couple like, ones in there, but real bad ones were real bad, and I can't believe that this cousin got away with setting her up on a date where they convinced the date to take her to a drive-in porno. I loved the dynamic of the family. I just love the busybody family trope, like family members that can't mind their own business. I just love that, especially when the relative's an older relative. I think it's really hilarious when grandparents think, they're like, I know love, I got this. And of course they do. They have more life experience. But when they get so invested in the younger generation, I just think that's really cute. So this was, all the tropes in this book was just right up my alley. The only qualm I had was because I loved the family so much. There was just so much family that we didn't get to have the backstory on a lot of family members. There was like one cousin and one aunt for each date, so we have at least 10 family members here. But most of them were kind of glossed over because there was just not enough page time to really introduce these characters. So as much as it was fun seeing all these different characters, it was a bit confusing at times. Because it's like, oh, this aunt. I'm like, okay, who's this aunt again? So the family thing was a pro and a con. I also wish that there was more of a build-up between the love interest that she ends up getting with at the end. It was a little predictable, so I saw it coming a mile away. I just wish there was definitely more of a slow burn happening, because I love slow burns, and I kind of wish there was more of a slow burn going on. So as much as I could not put this book down, I couldn't actually rate it a full 5 stars, so I did end up rating a 4-star read, but it was so good and very surprising. The next book on this list is An Age of License, a travelogue by Lucy Ninsley. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, most likely not. I've read something else by her. Roughly around the time I was getting married, I read Something Old, Something Borrowed. I think that's what that book is called. And I really liked the art style that she had going. And I really liked the journal-esque feeling of that first book. And that same feeling is in this one. Basically, it's a memoir of her travels across Europe. She breaks up with this long-term partner, and in a way to try to find herself and get things sorted, she goes on this Europe trip, and she goes to various places in Europe. And she draws her adventures and draws her travel plans, draws the relationships that she had with her parents and with people that she just met. It was very interesting. She also has like this summer fling happening while she's over there, and she like illustrates the feelings that she had there. I liked it. I liked how vulnerable and how sweet and simple it was. Even though her feelings were rather complicated, I enjoyed the vulnerability of it, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I like the overall message that she had at the end, and of course, I really dig her art style. Again, this was another 4-star read. I'm really picky with 5-star reads. There are 5-star reads on this list, but there's not very many since I am very picky about my 5 stars. Speaking of a 5-star read, this one is for sure a 5-star read. It's Witches Volume 1 by Scott Snyder. It's a graphic novel. It's a Halloween themed. It's a very spooky graphic novel. This family moves to Litchfield, New Hampshire because their daughter went through something very traumatic in their previous town. She was being bullied, and the bully was killed. And people are like, well, it's an accident, and other people, well, this girl did it. In fact, it was actually witches, spelled with a Y, not an I. Everything you know about witches is completely wrong in this world. Witches are more like monsters than people. The town that they move to actually have a deal with these monsters. To get what they want or what they need, they pledge a person to the monsters, and the monsters then eat that particular person. And that's basically what happened to the bully. And the more you read into this graphic novel, you find out more about the culture of this town and why it's important, and why that bully was targeted, and why this girl is also targeted, because she's now targeted as well. And the reveal, oh my god, the reveal is what sold it to me. I found it so fascinating, so interesting, so this was for sure was a 5-star read. The mythos and the description of the world is just the detail. Oh, I for sure want to read Volume 2 when the new year comes. The next book is another 5-star read. I love this very much. It's a non-fiction book. Shrill, Notes from a Loud Woman by Lindy West. Lindy West is a comedian. I actually never seen any of her stuff, and I was unfamiliar with who she was. Sylvia over from Wish Fulfillment had recommended this book on her Goodreads page and on her channel, and I was like, no, I like non-fiction. Sylvia is raving about it, so I'm gonna give this a try. And I love this. Lindy West talks about her coming of age in an industry that focuses its value on thin, conventionally pretty women. And Lindy West is a plus-size person, so of course she doesn't fit into that mold. And being a person on the internet, she's a target because she's not that person that fits into the socially acceptable mold. So she talks a lot about these hard-hitting topics while also like talking about it in a humorous way. She will say something that really hits like close to home for me, and then she will like tell a joke about it, and in a way that really tied into everything. I found her to be incredibly funny, and honestly it's hard for me to laugh at a book or laugh out loud while I'm reading a book, and she does it effortlessly. I also listened to this as an audiobook where she narrates it, and I think that really like heightened the experience for me. 5 out of 5. If you've not read it, I highly recommend it. And the last book on this list, The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. It's the first book in a series. It's YA. And I owned this book for years before donating it, and now that I finally read it, I can't believe I did that. And I can't believe it's taken me this long to read it. Basically, what the synopsis of this one, it's this disease targets kids. It's under 10 years old. And as they're hitting puberty, if they don't die, it's because something happened to their genetics and they actually develop certain abilities. Like telekinesis, being able to manipulate electricity, being able to manipulate people's actions, being able to... trying to think what else. Oh, or they have super intelligence and they have really good photographic memory. But they're so powerful, or they have the ability to be so powerful, that the government is actually scared of these children, and so they round them up when they start showing symptoms, and they like put them in a camp to like hide them away. Their parents think they're being rehabilitated, but they're not. They're just basically in prison. And each person with a certain ability is actually labeled as a color while they're in these prisons, or prison camps rather, The people who have the ability to manipulate objects are blue. People who can manipulate electricity are yellow. The smart ones are green. And the ones that can manipulate people's emotions and their actions are oranges. And those are the most scariest of the bunch, at least according to the government. If you're orange, you were actually taken away, like, into a very special camp. And our main character, Ruby, actually hides the fact that she's an orange. She was able to manipulate the guy in thinking that she's a green. So she's hiding in plain sight. It's revealed that she's an orange and not a green. And this organization, like, breaks her out to participate in their rebellion. And then the story follows, like, well, is this rebellion actually good people or are they bad people? Because she hears, like, conflicting information. And then she, like, spends time at a camp, and then it's revealed that maybe the people at this camp of runaway kids aren't necessarily good people either. There's a lot going on, which is why I ended up rating this 4 out of 5 stars, not 5 out of 5. But I loved the world building of it. I found the idea of kids being considered dangerous really fascinating, and them developing powers because of a disease to be really fascinating. Just the idea of the government being scared of children is like, why are you scared of them? So this was really great. Had its flaws, but it was really great. That is the end of this list, which means we're going to do another one of these. We're almost done. I have a good idea of what we're getting. Oh, I'm ripping this apart. Okay, F it, we're almost done. Let's just peel it right back. Yep. I have a suspicion that one thing's going to be Ravenclaw and one thing's going to be Slytherin. And we got a Slytherin crest. And now we have a full set of all the crests. We have all of the houses, which makes me think the next one is going to be something Ravenclaw related. But we'll find out in the next video if that is the case. So we're going to put this over here in this corner. So that's it. That's all I have for you guys for today. Let me know down in the comments below a book that you really loved this year. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I guess it's ta-ta for now. Bye, guys.